Hi guys, this is Carolyn. I only have a few moments, so I'll try to make this quick. It's going to be a little science lesson. You're getting ready to see why Carolyn never had a date in high school. I'm a little bit of a science nerd. I love this stuff. I read stuff like textbooks like these as my casual nightstand reading. So I really like science. I said some people like to read the articles that talk about what a study shows. I like to read the study. And I can't say that I understand every part of it, but I try to apply all that I do understand and learn more about what I don't understand. So this is just kind of, you're going to see the little preschool teacher in me come out a little bit here, and a little bit of my inner science nerd. So I hear people say things like, I just undid all of my hard work that I put in at the gym. You can't undo your hard work in the gym. Unless, and we're going to talk about this, unless you don't eat. Unless you starve yourself. Overeating is not undoing, but starving yourself is. So don't starve yourself. Muscle needs fuel. So I'm going to show you a few diagrams here. If I had a little chalkboard behind me, it'd be even more fun, but I don't. So here we go. Let me see how I can do this. This is a muscle here. You can see it in the arm here. This is what it looks like when you take it out. You do a cross-section of it. And each muscle has fibers in it. Each fiber is a cell. And if you remember from your science days in school, all cells have a nucleus and all cells have mitochondria in them. And each cell is a living entity in and of itself. It's a little city. And it has a power station in it. And those power stations in that muscle, think of them as fuel tanks, fuel barrels inside the muscle cell. And you need fuel in there for that cell to be a living, viable city, doing that work for you. If muscles do not receive fuel, energy sources, muscles die. So it's important that we are fueling for the work that we want our muscles to do for us. We want our muscles to grow. In order to grow, they have to have fuel. Now, here's some of the ideas about how a muscle grows in the first place. The more over time, like if you're like an endurance person, over time, in your training, we increase slowly 10% per week the workload that we put on our body so that we aren't overtaxing it, but we're stimulating the growth that we want to happen in the muscle. What we want to happen is we want either these barrels that hold the fuel, we want them to get bigger, and the fuel that's in them is called ATP. And so the carbohydrates that you eat are broken down. So the protein and the fat's not as much. And proteins are not really used as fuel. We need those amino acids to repair muscles. But they aren't stored as fuel. You need your carbohydrates. You cannot be on carb deplete and build. You can't do it. So you need ATP goes in here. The more ATP your body is making, the bigger the mitochondria get. When this mitochondria is all full, another mitochondria will be built beside it, another power station. So you now got two power stations to power the city because it's using more energy. And you're going to need this when you're running your half marathon or you're doing your endurance event or you're doing your power lift. So you want that to happen, and this happens over a period of time. That's why training usually happens in, you usually have like 15 weeks or at least 12 weeks out, 3 months, a semester. I've said it before. And that's so that you have time to build and fill these. And so let's talk about the fuel that's going in them. You need something before you go work out. You have to make sure there's fuel in the tank. You wouldn't go out on a trip without gas in your gas tank. Don't do it to your body. So what I do is I have a pre-workout shake. This is just easiest for me to do in a shake form. And you ideally want to do it at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half before you hit the gym. If you are a runner, don't go out and run on an empty stomach unless you ate really good the night before. You want to eat about 45 minutes before you start your race. You want to make sure that you have good fuel. I do about an hour and a half so that I have time to eliminate, and you all know all about that. So about 45 minutes is about how long it takes for the conversion to happen, for it to actually be used as energy. So that is my pre-workout, and in the shake this one is spinach, half a frozen banana, a vanilla protein powder, and just a little bit of almond milk, and just to make it a little creamy, and the rest of it's water in there. And then during my workout, I just do some amino acids, and the color that's in here is not a dye or anything. This is I put tart cherry juice in my drink, and tart cherry juice helps with inflammation. Also good for runners. Good recovery drink as well. That would not be a good recovery drink in and of itself because it doesn't have enough carbohydrates in it. It's only like 24 calories in that drink, and they all come from the berry juice that's in there. Post workout, you have like a 45-minute window that's optimal for right after your workout, where your body's going to best, like, think of it as a sponge. It's just going to be able to absorb in stuff, burn it up real quick. It's the best time to eat your more complex carbs. And if you're going to go a little higher in calories and carbs, it'd be a really good time if you've had especially like a leg workout day, a really hard workout day. So this is my post-workout. It's just it's a half sandwich. And this is not my meal. This is just a little recovery something for my ride home. And this is just Ezekiel bread. I have a slice of apple in here and about 2 ounces of chicken breast and a little bit of, half a slice of provolone cheese and a little bit of Dijon deli mustard in there. Keep everything working right. Okay, so what happens if you don't fuel your body? If you don't fuel your body, what starts happening is they start shutting down power stations because they don't have any way to fill them. So power stations start shutting down. And when the power stations shut down, guess what? The cell dies. The cell is a muscle fiber. This is what happens in like muscle atrophy. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's when you undo your hard work. So fuel those muscles. No one walks around looking ripped all the time. Get over that idea that you're going to walk around looking ripped all the time. Celebrities, Jillian Michaels even admits she cannot be photo ready all the time. Everybody has a little extra fluff that they carry around. There's muscles underneath there. There's muscle fibers underneath there. And if I stripped out, you'd see the striations in my shoulders and stuff, but you can't see it right now because I'm in a build phase, and so I'm carrying a little heavier, a little more fat over the top of my muscles. But if I wanted, like if it was summer, I was getting ready for bikinis, or I was getting ready for photo update shots or something like that, I strip out a little bit more fat, do a little more cardio, and so then my build phase would show a little bit more. Doesn't mean that my build phase isn't having an effect. Doesn't mean that there isn't muscle underneath there. It's just the evidence isn't showing right now as easily. I see it's there. I know it's there. I see it in the tape measure too. So fuel your hard work. Fuel the change that you want to see in your body. You cannot get faster. You cannot get bigger by starving yourself to death. You can get smaller. You can see a smaller number on the scale, but that does not equate getting better. And if you go too long without eating, like if you were to work out really, really hard, like today's my leg day. If I work out really, really hard today and I do not fuel afterwards, I have totally depleted, because leg day takes a lot of energy. It's just like, whew, those muscles are pressing really hard. They go really heavy. And so everything's like being squeezed out, and then, it's like soaking up, squeeze out, soak up. And then if I don't refuel, then the next time I go to do something, well, number one, it's going to slow my recovery time. And number two, the next workout I go to do, I'm going to feel like I'm going through sludge. I'm going to be like, man, this is hard work because I don't have the fuel to do it, and my body's having to tap into fat burning, and fat burning is really slow and sluggish, and so you want a little energy to help kick up your next workout and help you build more muscle fibers so that the muscle fibers can burn the fat. All right? I know this is like, for those of you that are like doctors and stuff like that, you're saying, man, that girl has no idea what she's talking about. So this is like your layman's terms of how I understand how muscles work. Do a little reading, do a little research, find out what works for you for your pre and post recovery meals. And sometimes it's just as simple as an apple and a couple almonds. Just keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. And find out what works for you. Love you, and thanks for tuning in.